Hello there. Rishi Sunak's Tory government is easing away from the UK uni-party political consensus on a few things. But why now? It's become hard recently to tell the main UK political parties apart from each other. Now, with the Tories, I'm not talking about what they say, but about what they actually deliver. Given that, all the parties are the same. High spending, tick. High taxing, tick. High borrowing, tick. Big state, tick. Health emergency response, tick. Open borders, tick. Net zero, whatever the cost to the people and the economy, tick. You get the idea. And all those on that consensus list are definitely left-of-centre ideas. But today, interestingly, there is another consensus forming, at least amongst the hierarchy of the Tories, Labour and the Lib Dems, that returning to the European Union is not on the agenda. And previously, all those parties' hierarchies were definitely pro-EU, hence the fudged-up Brexit. Even the Lib Dem leader Ed Davey recently said that rejoining was off the table because no one was talking about it on the doorstep. Or maybe Ed Davey is playing the normal Lib Dem game of telling people different things depending on the audience, hoping to soak up some Tory voters behind those blue walls. But what this does tell me is that there is no real depth of feeling on the subject out there, except among the EU acolytes, and that the party leaders know it. Anyway, Rishi Sunak has now started to unpick his party's obvious adherence to some of those earlier issues. The biggest one probably being the verbal only as yet rowback on some net zero measures, on the basis of saving the people some money. But unless he changes the law, he will be challenged in court and ordered by the judges to keep to the original course. And the Good Law Project is, as I understand it, gearing up to do just that. And the net zero campaigners have got a lot of laws to choose from to beat the government over the head with. And there's also talk from the Tories about cutting HS2 back as well. While Rishi, it appears, is gearing up for a war on woke, and if he kicks off on that, it will be a popular move. All good populist stuff, given where we are. He also has a little tickle of good news, with inflation falling a little last month, instead of rising as predicted. But why all this stuff from Rishi now? Could it be that he's planning a general election far earlier than we thought? Earlier in the year, it was presumed that Rishi would wait until the end of 2024 or even until early 2025, in the hope that something, anything, would turn up to reverse his fortunes. But could we now be on for a May 2024 election? Could he try to build up a quick head of populist steam and go to the country early? That would also have the advantage of not allowing too much time for the Labour leader Keir Starmer to repair any electoral damage caused by his recent meeting with President Macron at the Elysee Palace, while plans were unveiled for an EU Tier 3 associate membership, possibly to include the UK. And also telling an audience in Montreal that he was not for diverging from EU rules and regulations, as well as saying he'll reverse some of Sunak's net zero watering down if he got elected. And there's also the matter of the deeply unpopular, except amongst the privileged elite, Tony Blair publicly sticking his pro-EU oar in. Starmer also told those at the Global Citizen Festival, the GCF, in Central Park, New York via video yesterday, that the world is facing serious threats from extreme poverty to criminal gangs to climate change. Only progressive internationalist politics can rise to these challenges and deliver a secure future. To deliver climate security, a future Labour government would grasp the opportunities for jobs and our economy by driving forward with action for clean energy. And he also promised to stand strong on the UK's climate commitments and work alongside other like-minded countries to create a global clean power alliance. But no talk of making sure it was done in a pragmatic and affordable manner, opening the way for Sunak to say Labour will bankrupt the country over net zero. But if he wins, Sunak will no doubt return to the full net zero fold after a general election, when the courts have forced him to back down. Because I don't think he could get the relevant laws changed in time to fight the legal challenges off. He'd be met with stiff opposition from many on his own benches in the House of Commons for a start, and the Lords would probably can the lot. As an example, the House of Lords has just squashed the trophy hunting bill. It won't become law, and that was a popular bill in this country. 5 countries that allow trophy hunting to take place: Botswana, South Africa, Namibia, Zambia and Zimbabwe, issued a statement thanking the small, filibustering group of peers that brought the bill to a halt. And look at what the upper house did during the Brexit negotiations. So stopping Rishi changing net zero laws will be a doddle. And when it becomes clear how powerless he is and how he won't really push too hard, it will be too late to salvage anything. So Rishi could well be tempted to go to the country earlier than thought. Now the Tories are also pushing the irregular migration issue, with the Home Secretary Suella Braverman going off to Washington to discuss this gathering issue with people like the US Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas and Attorney General Merrick Garland. But I'm not sure what she'll learn other than how to tear down a Trump wall and let the flow increase. But her words are strong, claiming that this issue threatens democratic legitimacy, meaning they've been put in place to deal with it, but they can't because international law and judges won't let them. We must come together and ask whether the international conventions and legal frameworks designed 50+ years ago are fit for purpose in an age of jet travel and smartphones, Braverman said ahead of the visit. Not sure the US has that problem though. There's no ECHR out there. But the US arguably does have a far larger problem than the UK does, because they refuse to act. And they will not want her to act in any real terms either. So for me, open borders is a political decision taken by consensus behind closed doors by most Western politicians. They want it to happen, or they would stop it. They know they just need the distraction of someone, anyone, to shout loudly against it but achieve very little. Braverman has also come out in support of those Met officers who have handed their firearms in due to concerns that now Officer NX121, who shot and killed Chris Cabba last year, is on a murder charge, and they fear they will be hounded should they ever need to use their weapons whilst on duty, maybe even decades into the future. The concern being that those who judge them and then lock them up have no idea of the pressures involved. Anyway, many people think Rishi Sunak will hold off on an election until the last possible moment because he's going to lose it come what may. But the New Statesman said in a recent article by Andrew Marr that the Tories are considering a spring small boats general election. The view at Westminster is switching. A general election in the spring is now regarded as plausible, even likely, by senior figures across the political spectrum. And there has even been talk that he could call one next month for November. So maybe we're all in for a surprise. But if by some miracle he did pull it off, how many manifesto pledges would he be forced to ditch? Watering down net zero for a start. After all, the uni-party consensus has to reunite again after the election, doesn't it?